Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I know most people are on mute, but I like saying good morning anyway.
Good morning.
So, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, good. I love that.
Morning. Morning, Audrey.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to kick off the morning. And I'm Audrey Russo. I'm President and CEO of the Pittsburgh Technology Council. I'm thrilled that everyone has gotten up and is joining us. I know this is going to be really a great presentation and discussion. So a couple of things I hope that you're experiencing with sort of the networking breakouts this morning went well. This is the first time we've done this. We're still learning. We're excited about Zoom coming to Pittsburgh, and we're sure we're going to be all masterful at Zoom in no time. So since we can't meet in person, we want you to have the same kind of network interactions that you had at our in-person events. We know it's not the same. But if you met someone new today, we hope that you consider that a success. There's some great people who are joining us today, people who are very, very active in our tech community that represent the community in almost every dimension. So I'm pretty thrilled about that and very lucky to know so many of you. We will send out an exit survey after today, and then we'll get your feedback and we'll synthesize that. We take your feedback seriously. You guide us. So before we get started, I'd like to thank our CIO Insight Series sponsors. And first is CGI. If you don't know anything about CGI, they were founded in 1976. They actually are one of the world's largest IT and business consulting firms, with over 400 people right in Pittsburgh, and I think over 70,000 people around the world. So they've been in our region for over 30 years, and today they develop innovative solutions side by side with their clients in their innovation center, which features a collaborative studio, a cloud-based virtual lab, and other areas designed to foster teamwork and exploration and collaboration. You may have remembered the company, for those of you who've been around, called Summa Technologies. They actually acquired Summa, and they are embedded in their practice. So thank you. Comcast Business, long friends of the Tech Council. Just a little bit about them. They are really responsible for powering Pittsburgh's top businesses, powering the community, and they take that responsibility and their participation in the community very seriously. They do provide a variety of enterprise solutions, from network connectivity to managed services, to enable business to simplify their network in the face of innovation and allowing for technology solutions that put customers in the forefront. We have a very big changing business environment. They are also very active in the community and making sure that they are trying to eradicate the digital divide that has severely showed itself through this recent pandemic. So thank you for being, and we have a supporting sponsor, Extra Hop. If you don't know them, they provide cloud native network detection and response for the hybrid enterprise. And their breakthrough approach analyzes all network interactions and applies cloud scale machine learning for complete visibility, real-time detection, and guided investigation. So with their approach, they help the world's leading enterprises rise above the noise of alert, organizational silos, and runaway technology. So thank you all for being sponsors. Thank you for believing in the work that we do. And I'd like to introduce today's speaker. So Ray, I've known Ray, I don't know, Ray maybe for a decade or more. He's the Senior Vice President of Information Technology and has responsibility for all commercial systems across Eaton Corporation. He began his career in 1987 with Westinghouse Electric Corp in technical sales and marketing program, became an Eaton employee through the acquisition of Westinghouse Distribution and Control Business Unit. He's had several positions within Eaton. He was promoted to Senior VP in 2009, and having previously served as Vice President of IT for 2002. He is the CIO Choice recipient for Lifetime Achievement in 2017 of our CIO Awards, but he's going to tell you more about himself. He's very active in the community. He's passionate about Pittsburgh, even though he has global responsibilities, and he is just really a good man. I am very thrilled to pass the baton to Ray, and thank you for our sponsors, and we're just going to dive right in. So,
all right, great.
Well, thank you, Audrey. And I wanted to start this by thanking you and the Pittsburgh Technology Council for setting up these business as usual sessions. I mean, they've been fantastic. I've tried to participate in almost all of them.
Okay.
And the folks that you've had and the topics that you've covered have been tremendous. I mean, the early on with COVID and the PCs for the Pittsburgh high school or, Pittsburgh public schools and the food bank, just some really inspiring topics for all of us to hear and try to help out. So I really enjoy them. I hope you continue to do them, even when things settle down a little bit more, because they've been fantastic. The 30-minute sessions have been just the right time, just kind of squeeze it in at lunch. And they've been really fantastic. So I want to thank you and the team for those.
Thank you. Thank you. And now we're really trying to wrestle with all the issues that are current. So if you don't know about it, every day at noon, we have a Zoom. And if you don't know about it, just reach out to Monica or Taylor or Jill. We'll send you the info. So Ray, tell us about you.
Yes. Well, let me do that here. Let me, can everybody see this? Let me go into presentation mode here. Okay. So Audrey, this is our beautiful headquarters in Cleveland. So we were talking earlier, we built a new headquarters in Beechwood, Ohio, which is outside of downtown Cleveland, and beautiful facility that we manufacture, a lot of products. So this is our global headquarters. This is what I wanted to cover today. I wanted to just give you an overview of Eaton and who we are, what we do, and then spend a few minutes talking about IT. Since this is a technology group, I thought you'd be interested in hearing about what we do in IT, how we operate, and then I wanted to spend a few minutes on COVID-19 because certainly that's been in the forefront the last few months, and we had to do some serious pivoting as a company and and in IT and how we handled it. So I thought I would share with you what we did as a company and how we responded, and then some of the takeaways from it, because I think it's going to change how we operate as an IT organization going forward. So I wanted to share some of the takeaways that we've seen over the last 3 or 4 months. But before we do that, I thought I'd just share a little bit about me. I was born in Pittsburgh, so I'm a Yinzer. I grew up here. I went to Shaler High School, and I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh with a degree in electrical engineering in 1987. So I've been around a long time. As Audrey said, I started my career at Westinghouse. So the first 7 years of my career, I worked for Westinghouse Electric Corporation. And then we were acquired by Eaton in '94. And I've held a variety of roles at Eaton. In 2002, I became the electrical sector CIO for the company. And I'm currently responsible for what we call all of our customer-facing processes. So we're organized in centers of excellence, which I'll share with you in a few minutes. And I run one of those centers of excellence for the IT organization for all of Eaton. And I'm actively involved in a lot of nonprofits. I'm on a few boards. I've been very involved with the United Way, and I'm an avid sports fan. I have tickets to the Steelers and the Penguins, and I try to get to the Pirates. I'm being generous on the Pirates, but I try to be a fan to all the teams here in Pittsburgh. Okay, our mission at Eaton, this was, we believe in giving back to society and wanting, we want to work for a purpose. And we're really all about improving the quality of life and the environment through the use of power management. And that's really what we do at Eaton. We manage power, whether it's electrical power, mechanical power, fluid power, we manage power. And our companies, our businesses provide products that do that. And we have a slogan that we put together several years ago, that we make what matters work. And that's kind of what we believe. We're powering the world, and we want to improve the world. A little bit about our size. Last year's sales were a little over 21 billion in revenue. We were founded in 1911, so we've been around a long time, over 100 years. And we have two basic businesses. We have an electrical sector business, which is about 13 billion in revenue, a global business. We're in hundreds of countries. And then we have an industrial sector, which is made up of, we have an aerospace business, so we make products that go into cockpits and airplanes. We have a large hydraulics business. We make vehicle products, and I'll share with you in a minute what some of the products are. And then a new business for us. We've only started this a couple of years ago, and this is really around electric vehicles. We call it e-mobility, and we want to become a leader in providing product to the electrical vehicle market. So we're developing all kinds of new technologies to sell into that market as that market continues to grow. We're technically headquartered in Dublin, Ireland. So that's our official headquarters. And our CEO is a gentleman named Craig Arnold. And we have key locations, corporate locations, obviously the one I just showed you in Beechwood, in near Cleveland. We have a corporate location in Shanghai, one in Moors, Switzerland, and then in Sao Paulo, Brazil. So, and we have literally 700 and some locations around the world. And we service customers in more than 175 countries. And we have about 99,000 employees. So just to kind of give you a sense of Eaton and our size and scale. These are the industries that we serve. So you can see we cover a lot of ground with regard to the types of products we make and the industries we're in. We make products for the aerospace industry. We put products into commercial buildings. We're very large in data centers. So a lot of the digital growth that we're seeing in the world, we're benefiting from that as a company because we provide equipment for data centers. We make product for food and beverage. You can see here, there's a variety of industries. We service a lot of industries across the globe. And this kind of gives you a very high level of the types of products that we manufacture. So we are a manufacturer. We have hundreds of factories, quite a few in the United States and around the globe. And we make a lot of different products. I would say none of these are overly sexy products. These are types of products that go into buildings and manufacturing facilities and hospitals and vehicles. But we make literally millions of these every day of these different types of products. So a very broad portfolio of products that we manufacture around the globe. So that's just a little bit of Eaton. Audrey, I'll pause for questions. If anyone has any questions, I mean, we can either do them while we're going, or you want to wait till the end. It's up to you.
We can make it interactive.
Okay.
I'm totally fine with that.
Anybody have any questions about Eaton in general before we jump to IT?
Where are most of the manufacturing facilities?
Well, we actually have a large factory in Beaver, PA. So we manufacture multi-case circuit breakers there, but we have quite a few factories in the Carolinas. We're one of the largest employers in the Carolinas. We have quite a few factories in Wisconsin. We have a lot of factories in Michigan. They're literally all over the United States and Canada and Mexico. And then, we have quite a bit in China, as you can imagine. And right. The strategy we've deployed at Eaton is we've pretty much gone to a regional manufacturing strategy. So we make products in APAC, in the Asia Pacific region for Asia Pacific. We make products in North America for North America, and then in Europe for Europe. And there's some products that are truly global, but in a lot of our industries, there's codes and standards that are unique to certain countries. So the products don't transfer from one country to another very easily. Like if, for example, in the United States, UL is very prominent, the Underwriters Laboratory. That's the standard that we have to comply to. Mm-hmm. Where in Europe, they have a thing called IEC, which is a different electrical standard. So those products got to comply to European standards. And quite frankly, the products look and feel different by region. You know, the way Europeans interact with products is a little bit different than the way the North American folks do, so our customers do. So we have a manufacturing strategy that's very regional, and we source regionally too. We tend to buy materials from companies in that region. So when the COVID-19 hit, we had a little bit of a disruption in the supply chain, but it wasn't dramatic because we didn't rely on like China to provide a lot of raw materials for our factories in the US. We tended to buy a lot of the products, the raw materials from US companies. So we had some disruption, but it wasn't as dramatic as others that have more global supply chains.
So here we have a bunch of questions I'm going to go through. You answered one of the questions already about the supply chain, but I'll take it from the top. So this is from Nina Barbuto, and she is asking, do you have the facility in Wexford still?
We did have in Westerville, Ohio, we did have a facility there. I think it's just a sales office now. It used to be a manufacturing location, and now it's just a sales and marketing office.
And then from John Fraser, he's asking, what does the facility in the Meadowlands, Pennsylvania actually make?
They make, that's part of our Krause-Heinz business. Krause-Heinz is one of our divisions at Eaton, and they make, the easiest way to describe it is explosion-proof equipment for oil and gas. Wow. So when you're in in a refinery, there's a lot of vapors and explosive types of gases. So we make products that protect the factory, protect the workers from those types of gases, you know, getting into electrical products. And our Krause-Heinz business is based has an operation in the Meadowlands. They're actually based in Syracuse, New York.
Okay, and then you mentioned a little bit about your regional approach, but is reshoring, this is from Craig Waller, is reshoring redundancy being discussed at Eaton at all?
Yeah, we are. We're going to bring some. We actually, one area we got ourselves into trouble a little bit was with Mexico. We had moved some products to Mexico, and they actually shut down some of the manufacturing in Mexico. And we bring product back to the US from Mexico. So we actually moved one of our product lines from Juarez back to El Paso, Texas. And I think we're going to probably do more of that. We'll bring more of that manufacturing back so we're not dependent on other governments' policies with some of that.
Well, and this, great. And so we answered Tom Fry's question about supply chain. And then Karen Alexander's asking, how are you employing emerging technologies and moving toward Industry 4.0?
Well, so at Eaton, and I didn't put a slide in here on that, we can certainly talk about that, but the last 3 or 4 years, we put together what we call a digital transformational strategy, and we have 4 pillars. And one of the pillars is Industry 4.0, and we have a leader based out of Cleveland that runs that for us, and he's working with all of our factories to implement Industry 4.0 technologies. There's a variety of things we're doing in our factories. We're leveraging the Microsoft HoloLens to do manufacturing. And, you know, I'll give you one example. In one of our Canadian operations, we have a fair amount of turnover, and we're using HoloLens to train technicians on how to assemble products. So they can visually see it in the HoloLens and then build it on the factory floor. So it's a way to get our technicians up to speed more quickly using those types of technologies. So that's an example of how we're trying to leverage Industry 4.0 in our factories.
Okay, and we have a question from Greg Traverso, and he's saying, with the new federal e-waste laws, how's Eaton currently handling your e-waste recycling to be compliant?
Yeah, we have, well, a couple things. Some of that, you know, we lease materials, so we end up sending it back to the manufacturer. So, you know, like PCs, for example, we lease those from HP, and when we're done with those, we ship those back to HP, and then they handle the disposal or whatever they do with those. We also have an environmental health and safety organization, a very large organization across Eaton that's focused on gas emissions and wastewater and all of the sustainability metrics that companies are focused on. So they're focused on e-waste and any of the metrics that we need to on whether it's gas emissions, water, or whatever.
So here's a question from Chris Smith. Have there been decisions on non-manufacturing related employees when they will return to work full time?
Yeah, I mean, it's really country by country, site by site. In the United States, it's state by state. And I'm going to get into this with the COVID-19, but we were able to pivot to allow literally 24,000 people to start working from home almost overnight. And I'll share with you what we did there.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll get into that in the COVID-19 because I have some stuff on that, and I'll talk specifically about what we're doing with the employees.
Okay, so let's just do 2 more questions, then we'll go into COVID. We've got a lot of questions.
Well, I'm going to do Eaton IT first.
So this is from John Sieg, and he is saying, with all the sourcing needs, do you have a strong vendor risk management program?
We do. We have a supply chain organization that manages, all of our vendors, and we have people that keep scorecards and manage the risk. So yes, they're based out of Cleveland, and it's a large organization.
So here's one question, and this is from Natalina Zubek, and she's saying, what aspect of your job do you enjoy the most?
I like the variety. Working for a large industrial company, we get involved in a lot of different projects. I was on a call before this call with our chief digital officer talking about developing a digital marketplace that we want to put together for a lot of our digital initiatives. So, that's a whole new ball game with IoT and some of the technologies. We make a lot of products that are smart, and they generate a lot of information. And we're starting to put together value propositions on how can we sell that data, how can we monetize all the information that all of our products provide. I mean, literally almost every product we make has a circuit board in it and can communicate, and it has Wi-Fi capability. So there's a lot of opportunity for us to monetize all this data and information. I believe personally that people will buy our products in the future because of all the information and the applications that we can provide, more so than the physical product itself. And historically, people were looking at feature, function, benefit of products. And I think we're going to see the opposite, where they're going to want to know what kind of information does it provide, what kind of applications do you provide, what kind of dashboards do you provide. And if they like all of that, they'll say, okay, I want to buy your circuit breaker, or I want to buy your switchboard, or the physical product itself.
So before we go to the next slide, here's just to ping on that. It's from Ron Ryer. Do you see IoT class products being IoT AAS as a service?
Yeah, I mean, we have a full strategy around developing IoT for Eaton. It's a nascent business for us today, but we see it growing dramatically over the next 5 years. And we just brought in a chief digital officer in January of this year to lead that effort for us at Eaton. So he is responsible for developing those business cases and business models on how we can start to sell information and applications and services that we don't sell today.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, those are good for the questions now. Why don't we go into?
Yeah, I just have a few slides to talk about the IT organization and give you a sense of who we are, what we do, and how we run IT at Eaton.
It's great. Thank you.
All right, let's see. Okay, so we have a very global organization. As you can see here, we have almost 2,000 employees, literally scattered around the globe, and we operate as one enterprise IT organization. We have 600 and some people in Asia Pac, 271 people in Europe, over 800 people in North America. We use a lot of third-party contractors. You know, we have relationships with people like TCS and others. We use a couple key tools in IT to run IT. We use a system called Remedy to manage all of our incidents and requests. So if people, you know, have a problem, they can enter a ticket. If they need a printer, they can enter a request. And we have another tool called Project Portfolio that we use to manage all of our projects. And you'll see here in a minute, we're managing hundreds of projects concurrently at any time. You know, our teams are global. So I have people that work for me that are based in China and Europe. So I have a manager in Europe and a manager in China. And then I have managers obviously in the US. So we have a very global team that's scattered around the world. And you could, you know, as a company that's generating $21 billion in revenue, we spend hundreds of millions of dollars in IT every year to support the business and help the business grow. So that's a little bit about our IT organization. This gives you a sense of our infrastructure, just to kind of give you a sense of the scale and size and what we do every day. We have 2 large data centers based in Kentucky that basically run Eaton, and they're mirror data centers about 20 miles apart. So we're able to, for disaster recovery purposes, we're mirroring data between them every day. We use Azure Cloud with Microsoft. So we have a relationship with Microsoft. So we're doing a lot of our IoT work with Azure. We have about 6,900 servers, 3,000 plus applications. We use a bunch of external applications. So we do a lot in the cloud today, over 175 external applications where they're cloud-based today. You know, I mentioned we have 785 sites on AT&T. AT&T is our global network provider. So that's how many locations we have around the globe: sales offices, factories, warehouses, R&D centers, et cetera. So, you know, pretty large footprint. About 70,000 PCs across the company, 25,000 phones. You know, we're managing about 3.8 petabytes of storage, which is 21 times the size of the Library of Congress, just to give you a sense of the data that we're moving around. SAP and Oracle are our strategic ERPs, so we're trying to move everybody to either SAP or Oracle in the company. You know, we run 5.8 million batch jobs every month. We do 1.6 million EDI transactions. You know, we have 175,000 probes per day on the Eaton's internet. And you can see here how many incidents we manage every month, how many requests we get every month. So quite, you know, a large organization doing a lot of complex work across the company in IT every day. And, you know, we're really the backbone of allowing Eaton to run.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Why is it that you have SAP and Oracle together? Yeah,
our vehicle business is Oracle based, and they're, you know, so as we acquire businesses and run businesses for vehicle, they're on Oracle, and then the rest of the company is on SAP. So it didn't make sense to move vehicle to SAP. They're happy with Oracle. It runs well for them. It would be a, you know, $100 million project to do it. So they're on Oracle and everybody else is on SAP or moving to SAP. We're like a lot of industrial companies. I was going to put a slide in here that show we've probably made 60 or 70 acquisitions over the last 10 to 15 years.
Wow.
So every time we make an acquisition, we pick up 2 or 3 ERP systems. So,
Right.
You know, we're constantly moving people to our strategic platforms. It's a job security for IT, because, you know, anytime we acquire a company, we're moving people to strategic systems, and we're doing it a lot. So it's a constant effort in IT.
So here's a couple of questions I just want to shoot out after this slide. So from Ron Ryer, is it possible to quantify IT expenditures as a percentage of organizational revenue? Do you do that?
We do. Yeah, I didn't want to share that percent with.
You don't have to.
Yeah, but yeah, we do, and it's in the typical range, but I'll say 2 to 3% is kind of in that range.
Okay, that's good.
But it's significant. You know, it's hundreds of millions of dollars.
So do you benchmark that? Do you do?
We do.
Packet
We do.
Things like that.
We do. We use Gartner to do a lot of our benchmarking, and we're constantly looking at our IT organization and how we're spending dollars and comparing ourselves to other diversified industrials, other pure play industrials to see if we're in line with what they're doing. And we are. We're right in line with what you'd expect an industrial company to be spending.
Mm-hmm. So then, so you've answered some of this, but I just want to make sure I've captured it all. This is from Suresh Ramanathan, and he said, I managed a project a long time ago implementing Oracle ERP at Eaton, including bringing up the greenfield plant in Reynosa, Mexico, as part of CCD. Did you commit to SAP as it better for discrete manufacturing?
Yeah, basically, we've been moving. Two things. We acquired a company about 7 years ago called Cooper Industries, and they were a $6 billion business. And they were a 98% SAP. And, you know, with that footprint and that size of a business, we decided to start moving some of our other businesses to SAP. And for discrete manufacturing, SAP is definitely the best software in the industry.
Right. Okay. Well, good.
Okay.
Those are the questions for now. You have another slide?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, what I wanted to share with you, and again, this is very high level, but this will give you a sense of how we're organized in IT. We moved to this structure about 4 years ago, and we're organized in centers of excellence. So we're a global organization, so we're basically a corporate function that supports all of the businesses across Eaton. And we have these centers of excellence. So as I said earlier, I'm responsible for what we call our commercial center of excellence, which is all the customer facing applications, sales, marketing, things like quoting and pricing, lead to order. There's another gentleman who's based in Switzerland that manages our manufacturing COE, and we have several large corporate functions. So Cindy's based in Cleveland and manages our admin COE. We have a BI COE, and then in the middle here is what we call our run-in support centers of excellence. And this is really where all of our development, our infrastructure support. So we literally have people in our factories that provide day-to-day support for all the equipment and the people in those factories. So that's all part of that. And then we have on the right side here what we call our governance and finance. So we have our architecture, our SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley still in our world, and a growing and important security team. And Dick Kerr runs that organization, and that continues to grow as we do more and more around security. That's become a big focal point for Eaton the last 3 or 4 years, is to really beef up our security capability. So this is how we're organized, and all 1,973 people fall into one of these COEs, as well as the contractors that support these different businesses. Okay?
Okay. So there's a couple of questions.
Yeah.
One is from Scott McTaggarty saying that, Ray, you said that Industry 4.0 was one of the 4 pillars of your digital transformation. What are the other 3?
Customer facing, our internal productivity, and IoT.
Okay.
Those are the 4 pillars. So I lead the customer facing pillar. We have a whole initiative on internal productivity. So quite frankly, the COVID-19, and you'll see here, I mean, the tools that we're putting in place to drive internal productivity, thank God we did what we did when we did, because they were a lifesaver for really driving internal productivity. A lot of the Microsoft tools that we've deployed. And then the CDO is hired to lead the IoT strategy, how we're going to grow our Internet of Things and selling information. And then the last is the Industry 4.0. So those are the 4 digital pillars of our digital transformation strategy.
Okay, good. We have a question here from Arvind Handu, and he's saying, this being a business development effort, what opportunities do you see for companies in the local Pittsburgh area to support Eaton? What areas might you be looking for help in the near term?
Yeah, I mean, we're development resources helping us develop, whether it's Java, .NET, or 2 technologies that we use, Oracle database. We're a big Oracle database shop. So those would be technologies. I've worked with some of the local companies to help us prototype different applications, do agile development type opportunities. So those would probably be the most prominent opportunities.
Mhm. Okay, good.
Okay.
And then we have another question from Ron Rayer. To what extent do your internal IT teams provide support for both internal business as well as external XAS?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the center of excellence. For me, my center of excellence, because I interface quite frequently with our customers,
Mhm.
we do a lot of interaction with end customers, with our distributors. We sell through distribution. So I visit and spend a lot of time with customers as part of my role. We do what we call top of the top, where we meet our top leaders, meet with our distributors' top leaders, and we talk about strategy and how we can work together. And a lot of my tools help them either be more productive or grow revenue. So we do a lot with customers. Some of the other COEs, like the admin COEs, more internally focused on our corporate functions, whether it's tax or treasury, HR, finance, legal.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's it. You can go to your next.
All right. I think that kind of takes us through the IT organization. Just a few slides to talk about who we are, how we're organized, what we do every day. And then I wanted to just spend a few minutes on COVID-19 and, the craziness that this has caused everybody in the world, but and how Eaton responded to it and the impact it's had on Eaton as well as on our IT organization. So I just put a couple slides together just to share with all of you what we're doing and some thoughts post-COVID. So the one thing to know with Eaton, because of the types of products we manufacture, we were considered as an essential business pretty much globally, right out of the chute. So none of our factories, we never closed any of our factories. We kept manufacturing right through this pandemic. And, quite frankly, we were shipping products to hospitals and some of the things that you saw in China where they were building hospitals in 30 days. We participated in that and providing electrical equipment to those hospitals. So we never closed. So that was the one thing with Eaton. We had to keep our factories running. We had to, implement social distancing and all the safety protocols right away. Now with our office, we have about half of our employees work in factories and the other half of our employees work in offices, basically is how we're divided up. And the people who are in offices obviously started working from home literally overnight. I mean, and you'll see I have some stats to share with you on the impact of COVID on our IT infrastructure, but we literally went from 8,000 concurrent users dialing in every day, coming in remotely via VPN to 24,000, almost overnight. And fortunately for us, we have a pretty robust infrastructure in place, and we were able to scale that up very quickly. All we had to do was buy more licenses. We had to make sure we had enough licenses to handle the increase in volume, but the infrastructure itself, we were in good shape. We didn't have to scramble and buy more servers. We had enough capacity. We just had to make sure we had enough licenses to handle the volume. So that was the thing. We went out and bought more licenses with WebEx and Microsoft Teams. And we created a pandemic SharePoint site for all employees. So this was something we worked with our HR and EHS teams, and we put together a pretty comprehensive site. I have a screenshot of it that has pretty much everything you'd want to know about, COVID-19 at Eaton and what we're doing. And if you're an employee, you can see the different things that we're doing, how we're protecting our employees. The other thing we did, we have call centers or contact centers scattered around the globe. We literally have probably at least 24 of them in different countries. And the last 3 or 4 years, we've been implementing a technology from Cisco that allowed us to have our agents basically work from home through soft phones. So they were able to log in from their PC and get into a queue like they were sitting in the office and take calls and answer customer questions literally overnight. And, thank goodness we put this technology in place because it made this transition literally seamless. I mean, we were Friday they left work. Monday morning they were at home dialing in, taking calls from customers, and it was literally that fast. I mean, that the week of this, that 16th, March 16th was kind of the pivotal week when a lot of states started shutting down. We started sending people home, and this was happening globally. People just went to home and started working as though they were sitting in the office next to their colleague, taking calls. The other thing we did is, because some of this technology was newer, some of the Microsoft technology in particular, like Microsoft Teams and Yammer and some of the other tools, we did a bunch of virtual training sessions on how to use collaboration tools. So as people started to work from home, they wanted to learn how to use these tools better. So one of the things we did in IT is we conducted, literally dozens of training sessions for our employees around the globe to teach them how to use these tools fairly quickly. And, as an IT organization, we've all been working from home now for the last 13 weeks. This is week 13 for me, working from home. So, IT, we were able to very easily, a lot of our employees already worked from home, in IT, but we had quite a few people still going into the office. But literally the whole IT organization is working from home right now, and we'll be the last to go back. So just a little bit on the things we did in IT to handle this COVID impact. Just a little bit on the infrastructure. I mentioned earlier, we literally went from 8,000 to 23,000 concurrent users per day. So we tripled the volume of people dialing in or VPNing in, I should say. Dialing in is old technology. VPNing in with over the internet. We went from 140,000 WebEx and team meetings per month to 360,000 per month. So like Zoom, we use WebEx and Teams at Eaton, and it just ramped up dramatically. So all those meetings that people were having in the office and conference rooms, they all went online almost overnight. We went from, it was a 53 million audio minutes per month, which was a 250% increase over what we were doing in the past, and 2 million video minutes per month, which was a 400% increase. So huge volume increases in these technologies that we had in place. And we were using these, but not to the extent that we are now. And then the last thing here is we actually started making PPE equipment to sell to our customers and give to our customers. So we're in IT, we're developing an e-commerce site to sell some of this PPE. We make face shields and some other things in one of our manufacturing locations, and we're actually going to start selling it to customers who need that equipment in the United States. So this is an example of basically a new product that we're now going to start manufacturing and selling to customers who need it. And we're helping build that shopping site for our business right now. I mean, it's not launched yet, but it'll be launched here in the next few weeks. So just to give you a little sense of what we're doing in IT here.
You're hardly doing anything, right?
It's been crazy.
So when the question was, how are you holding up, as well as what do you love about your job?
I like keeping busy, and we got lots of great things we're doing. We're really trying to help our community. Eaton's done a lot. I just was able to deliver a pretty large check to a group called Verland. They're here in Pittsburgh. They take care of intellectually disabled. And wow. we donated $44,000 to them to help with their facility. So we're really trying to help the community, and this PPE, selling PPE equipment, again, there's been shortages, and now companies won't have to rely on China and other places. We're going to make it for them here in the United States. So it's been good. I mean, the hardest part for me is this is week 13 at home. And, I used to work from home 1 or 2 days a week, but not every day. So that's been a big adjustment, and I'm getting used to it, and it's been great. I have a great office here at home, but I do like the interaction. I miss the interaction with my colleagues and just being at work, and some of the going to a conference room and having a face-to-face meeting with somebody. I miss that. So that's been a big adjustment. But overall, it's been good. I mean, we've been able to function with very little loss in productivity, to be honest, across the company, which has been really amazing.
Listen, thank you. First of all, thank you so much. This was packed with great information, a lot of candor, and some, great questions. And appreciate you, spending the time with us in the sea of all your own frenetic existence and trying to keep the company afloat. You have a big responsibility.
I have one more slide. I'll go through quickly. Well, this is just a screenshot of that SharePoint site we did for pandemic.
Oh, nice.
The communications, and we have a bunch for employees, for customers. We're doing temperature checks and all of that to keep our employees safe, customer communication. So
nice.
We put this together very quickly for our business to help them communicate across the globe. And then this last slide here is just some takeaways. The one thing that I would say that COVID-19, it's done a couple things. One, it's really showed us how to leverage these tools that we have. And, our CEO is doing Microsoft Teams town hall meetings now and things that he hadn't done in the past, which has been great. And, I have digitize. The more we digitize, the less we're dependent on physically being together in offices. And, the one example I like to use, we still mail invoices to customers for some of our businesses. A percent of our invoices get sent out every day. And we use a company here in Pittsburgh to print and mail those. Well, initially they were shut down because they weren't classified as an essential business. And we were panicking, thinking, how are we going to be able to invoice our customers? We needed the cash flow to as a company, and invoicing is critical for that. So we were scrambling to figure out how we were going to do it. They ended up becoming an essential business and kept going. But, we should be digitizing all of that. All of our invoices should be going out electronically, and that's an opportunity for us to work on. The other thing that this really taught us is, because people can work from pretty much anywhere, we can recruit talent from anywhere. We used to be a little bit more picky about being at more of a corporate location or a major office. I think that's going to go out the window. We're going to recruit talent from wherever people want to work and live. Right. We did run into a little bit of a problem with PCs because we couldn't get PCs. So I think, we're going to store a little bit of hardware for emergency uses. That was the one area where we struggled a little bit because HP, they're so dependent on the global supply chain, they got hammered. We couldn't get PCs for a few weeks. The one function in Eaton that struggled the most was our engineering function. They're very dependent on applications like CAD and having engineering workstations. Well, those didn't scale too well when you try to work from home, because they were really based on working in the office. So that was the one function that we really need to look at and try to digitize more of the world, make it more cloud-based. And then the last bullet here is just to continue leveraging the IT technology that we've put in place for collaboration, virtual meetings. I think you're going to see that continue to grow. I really believe we're going to travel less in the future than we did in the past. Because this technology works so well, we don't need to physically be traveling everywhere. So
okay.
just some of my takeaways from COVID-19.
So we were slated to end at 9:15 and there are still questions.
I can stay on for a few more minutes if that's okay with you. I mean,
It's okay with me. I think there's one question here from Nina Barbruto about what are the efforts for accessibility, diversity, and inclusion and equity for supporting and building your staff? And are you still having people work from home?
So we have a very large diversity and inclusiveness program at Eaton. I mean, we're in our CEO is an African-American and very passionate about supporting the community. And he's been very engaged in this incident that occurred here a few weeks ago. And he really wants all of us to get engaged and support the community. So we're doing a lot around inclusion and diversity. It's a big deal at Eaton. And what was the second question?
Are people coming back to work on your IT team? What are you thinking?
Yeah, as I said earlier, because we're working so well from home, we will be the last group to go back. So I'm not anticipating going back to the office until after the 4th of July.
Okay.
We'll start to bring, like, and obviously in this region in Pittsburgh, we're going to start bringing people back this month, but the IT organization won't go back until July. And that's true in Cleveland as well. And some of the other regions, they're starting to come back in the office now. In Switzerland, they're starting to come back. It really depends on the country.
Ray, you rocked it for us.
Oh, great.
I cannot thank you enough. Everyone's writing great program. This was great. Ray, this was informative, et cetera, et cetera. We'll share this with you. I just want to tell everyone that what you see with Ray is what you get. And he's a pretty authentic guy, and he really cares about Pittsburgh and not just his work. So my hat's off to you. I want to just tell everyone that we are totally busy. This afternoon at 3:30, we have a Maiden Supplier Forum with GE Healthcare. On the 23rd of June, we have CIO Insights with Ed McAllister, CIO of UPMC. On the 30th of June, Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification Workshop. We have July 15th, CIO of the Year, August 31st, Cyberg, and daily, of course, at noon, business as usual. I cannot thank you all. Stay connected, and if you have any further questions, just shoot them over to Monica, and we'll see if we can get them back over to Ray.
Great. Thank you, Audrey, for the opportunity.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.